Welcome to Mindful Moments. Nourish your mind on the go. This audio uses AI narration to present our original book analysis. Today, we're diving deep into Abby Jimenez's Part of Your World.
Okay.
It's a romance novel, but it's also about, social expectations and what it means to find your place in the world,
No, totally. I think that really comes through in this book. One of the first things that struck me was how Jimenez uses the setting. You have Alexis, this successful ER doctor from a wealthy family, and then suddenly she's in Wakan, this small, quirky town.
And it's such a contrast, right? They're from completely different worlds.
Exactly. Wakan is this close-knit community. Everyone knows everyone. There's this sense of belonging and tradition.
Totally different from Alexis's life in Minneapolis.
Right, and Jimenez uses those differences to create some really funny situations.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like Alexis trying to peel potatoes for the first time. I was dying.
Yeah. But it also shows how our backgrounds shape our experiences.
Yeah, for sure. She's been living in this bubble.
And then, boom, she has to step outside of it.
Exactly.
And that's where the romance comes in, right? Daniel represents a totally different way of life for Alexis.
He's so grounded and genuine.
And that connection they have, it's not just physical.
No, they challenge each other to grow.
Totally. Daniel helps Alexis see the simple things.
And Alexis pushes Daniel to think bigger.
There's this one scene, Daniel shows up at this fancy hospital gala to support Alexis, and he's so out of his element.
Heartbreaking, right? You see the gap between their worlds.
Yeah. It's not just about them figuring out their relationship. It's about them figuring out themselves.
And that's what I loved about this book. It's not just a fluffy romance.
Right.
It's deeper than that.
Totally. It's about self-discovery.
Like being true to yourself.
Even if it means going against what everyone expects.
Alexis is such a relatable character, don't you think?
Yeah. Trying to balance her own desires with her family's expectations.
It makes you think, am I living the life I want?
It's a question we all ask ourselves, I think.
Absolutely. And Jimenez does such a good job of tackling those big issues.
With humor and heart.
Yeah. She makes you think, but she also makes you laugh.
Exactly.
It's like she's giving you permission to, question things.
Totally.
Yeah.
And to embrace the messiness of life, It's not always perfect.
Sometimes you got to take risks.
Exactly.
And sometimes those risks lead you to the most unexpected places.
Like falling in love with a guy who fosters baby goats in pajamas.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, we have to talk about the raccoon.
Oh, the raccoon.
It seems like a quirky detail at first.
Right.
But it feels like there's more to it.
Oh, there definitely is. The raccoon is a powerful symbol.
Okay, I knew it.
It represents a lot about Alexis and Daniel's relationship and the themes of the book.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So think about it. Raccoons are adaptable, resourceful, and often misunderstood.
Okay. I see where you go with this.
They thrive in lots of environments, just like Alexis and Daniel have to adapt to each other's worlds.
And they're seen as pests, right? Like creatures that don't belong.
Exactly. And that's how Alexis is perceived in Wakan at first.
She feels like she doesn't belong.
Right. But Jimenez is challenging that perception. What's messy or unconventional can also be beautiful and valuable.
She's turning the idea of a pest on its head.
Exactly. It's like she's saying love is kind of like a raccoon.
Okay, I love that analogy.
Oh.
Wild, unpredictable, and maybe a little messy.
But also resilient and full of surprises.
Just like love. So they have to dig through their own preconceived notions, like raccoons digging through the trash.
Yes. And that brings us to family legacies, another important layer in the book.
Daniel comes from this long line of Grants, all dedicated to Wakan.
And Alexis is dealing with the Montgomery name and the pressure to live up to her father's expectations.
Two very different legacies.
Right. It's like these competing forces pulling Alexis.
The Grant family's tradition of service and then her father's ambition.
And she's drawn to Daniel's world, but also afraid of disappointing her father.
It's such a tough position to be in.
It is. It's not just about choosing between two guys. It's about choosing between two ways of life.
Two versions of herself. Wow, that's powerful.
And Jimenez doesn't shy away from showing how hard that is.
There are times when Alexis tries to fit into that mold.
Like when she tries to convince Daniel to move to Minneapolis.
Right, to be a part of her world.
But it doesn't feel right to her. She realizes happiness comes from being true to herself.
Even if it means defying expectations.
Exactly. And that's where things get really interesting. She starts using her privilege, her resources, to help Wakan.
She gives back.
But it's not about charity. It's about partnership.
She's using her platform to advocate for them.
Yes. She's found her voice, and she's using it to make a difference.
That's such a powerful transformation.
Yeah.
And it all leads up to this beautiful ending. I don't want to spoil it.
No spoiler.
But it's a celebration of love, community, and finding your place.
It shows that sometimes the most fulfilling journeys take us to unexpected destinations.
And that sometimes the best adventures are outside our comfort zones.
And it's not just a win for Alexis and Daniel, right? It's a win for Walken.
Yeah.
For all those small towns out there.
Like their stories matter too.
Exactly. Jimenez does a great job showing how one person's choice can ripple out and inspire others.
It's like we all have the power to make a difference.
No matter where you come from.
Right. It's about finding your own way to contribute.
Yeah. And sometimes those contributions come from the people who bridge different worlds.
Like Alexis bridging the gap between her world and Daniel's.
Exactly.
So for everyone listening, think about those connections you've made that you weren't expecting.
What if stepping outside your comfort zone could lead you to your own part of the world?
I love that.
What do you value most? How can you use your experience to contribute to that?
Whether it's in your community or something bigger.
Part of your world is such a charming story.
It really is.
It reminds us that love can be found anywhere.
And that those adventures are often right outside our comfort zones.
Jimenez encourages us to really think about what success means. To look beyond what's on the surface.
And embrace the messiness of it all.
Exactly. Life's not always going to be perfect, and that's okay.
And that's what makes Part of Your World such a great read.
It's like a reminder that those unexpected paths can sometimes lead to the most amazing places.
So if you're looking for a book that will make you laugh and think.
And maybe even cry a little.
Definitely.
This is the one for you.
Ready to experience the full magic of Alexis and Daniel's journey. Subscribe to Mindful Moments for more insightful book analyses.
And purchase Part of Your World through the link below.
To dive into the complete story,